Good evening, Kunal. How are you?
Fine, sir.
You're talking to us from Lucknow or some other place?
So I'm talking from Jodhpur right now.
You are at Jodhpur. Okay. Somewhere in the DAF, I noticed that your home state is Tripura.
Yes, sir.
How come?
Sir, my father belongs to the Indian Police Service and
Oh,
he
okay.
is from the Tripura cadre. So I spent my
Okay.
formative years in Tripura itself. That's why I most
Okay.
associate with it.
Yeah, you have all the reasons to feel that Tripura is your home state. That's nice. It's a beautiful state.
Sir,
Now you did yeah, political science and international relations for your optionals.
sir,
Okay. Now you also um, did an analysis on Asian geopolitics.
sir.
That's something interesting. Asian geopolitics. Tell me, what are the flashpoints in Asia and which are the rogue states in Asia?
So the flashpoints in Asia are quite many because this is where the cradle of civilizations has begun, and geopolitics also begins with Asia. The first thing that comes to mind is the South China Sea, where China is pursuing its 9-line policy and disrupting the local geopolitics. Second flashpoint, sir, is the South Asian region, whereby there has been a continuous rivalry due to colonial boundaries between India, Nepal, Pakistan, and for that matter, Bangladesh as well. So the third flashpoint would be the Afghanistan, which has been always the area of great game between great powers like erstwhile UK and Russia, then the Soviet Union, and presently the US. Another flashpoint, sir, would be the Nagorno-Karabakh region between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Uh, Apart from that, sir, the Central Asian region, which is considered as the soft underbelly of Russia, the Georgia part is also contested. Then comes the Middle East, sir, between the Yemen and Saudi Arabia, then from Israel, Lebanon, Yemen and Saudi Arabia, then between uh, Lebanon, Jordan, and then the Egypt area, sir. And sir, the newly made the Israel-Palestine issue is a remembrance of that. And finally, sir, the Russia-Ukraine region, which forms at the cusp of Asia and Europe, that has also been a
Okay,
flashpoint.
good. You summed it up well. But why some states are called rogue states?
Uh, so some states are called rogue states because they do not adhere to the well-established international laws and norms for international relations. For example, so North Korea, it has isolated itself from various international bodies and also does not comply with either the United Nations decisions or, for that matter, any international convention like the Vienna Convention. That's why it is called as a rogue state.
And you were also adjudged as the best speaker on global terrorism.
Sir.
Now, what were your observations when you dealt with that subject, global terrorism?
So, one of the most striking observations that I felt while discussing with the fellow delegates was that there was no global consensus on one important issue, that what is terrorism. Each and every delegate had a different point of view and had different points to substantiate whatever they felt. And this was perhaps one of the most important things to come to a consensus regarding what terrorism actually is. So that is one thing, sir, that I experienced.
Is there a definition now?
Uh, Unfortunately, sir, there is still no consensus regarding the definition of terrorism. Perhaps the best one is given by India itself, by Rajiv Gandhi, former Honorable Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, in the UNCCIT, where he said terrorism is any act of indiscriminate violence that attempts to strike fear in the minds of innocent civilians. So I think that is one
Yeah,
definition.
it is encompassing this particular
Sir,
definition. Okay. Now, as a student rep, you dealt with the anti-ragging committee.
So,
What were the findings?
uh, so anti-ragging is a very serious issue, and when I was the student representative from my batch, I experienced some grave horrors, uh, particularly at my institute, whereby some senior uh, people, in the name of familiarization and initiation, misused their authority and bullied some of the children who have had some irreparable damages to their psychological consciousness. If I could recall, sir, one instance whereby a fellow member of mine had basically ragged my batchmate was indulged in ragging to a junior, and he was forced to drop out from college. This was the seriousity of the matter, and that's why I think, sir, this is a pressing issue which we should be very strictly.
This was in which year you were a student rep of that anti-ragging committee?
Sir, it was in my third year. Unfortunately, in the fourth year, sir, the COVID lockdown had taken place.
Okay, what is the situation now? Now that you're outside the college,
So,
do you think things have improved, or the same culture prevails, or
Uh, sir, I think the COVID-19 came as a blessing in disguise for this matter because the chain or the cycle of viciousness in which the seniors used to rank juniors had perpetuated on. But when the 2 years of lockdown took place, sir, the same ragging could not be dealt with the junior years. And so when they rejoined the college, this cycle of viciousness had broken. So I think the issue, the ragging issue has died down to quite an extent in our college, to my
what
best
is
of my knowledge.
what is so special about the Awadh cuisine?
Sir, Awadh cuisine is perhaps one of the richest cuisines in the world, if I might stress upon it. Sir, it is very delicious, which is called nafazat. It's a very aromatic in nature. So if Awadhi cuisine is being prepared in your home, the neighbors might come to your house as well. And it is very rich and vital. So when you eat it, you feel happy, you feel joyous, and you feel energetic, and you are able to pursue whatever you are in a better manner.
Is it the way of cooking, or is it the ingredient, or is it? I mean,
Sir, I think, sir, it is a combination of both. When it comes to way of preparing, sir, Awadhi cuisine is very slow cooked. There is a specialty, there is a special technique called as dum cooking, whereby at a very slow heat, it is cooked, prepared for a large amount of time, and that adds to the richness as well as the softness of whatever we are cooking. Second, an important thing is the preparation style, whereby in other cuisines where the spices are added wholly, in this particular cuisine, everything is crushed. So the actual identification of Awadhi cuisine is when you eat it, nothing should remain in your palate. Everything should be cleansed. And that is what is the hallmark of this particular cuisine.
yeah. See, what I read about Awadhi cuisine is the grain, or even the vegetable, has to be cooked on its own juice.
So,
You see, normally what we do, we cook it on water, we cook it on spices, we cook it on oil. They become the medium.
so,
So the power of water, the power of spices, the power of oil is transferred to you. But in this case, it is the grain, the vegetables are cooked on its own juice. The juice has to come out. That's why it's slow cooking. It takes time.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For one. Number two, the aroma is never allowed to go
Two,
out. That's why they do the dump.
sir.
The dump covers the aroma inside, which again cooks on its own juice and things like that. Something fantastic. It is something fantastic. Good. I'm
Sir.
happy you have an interest on food. That's nice. Okay. Now you worked for about 3 years, 9 months as an educator, yeah, finance derivative analyst, and also an intern. CSIR as an intern. Then what happened? 2.5 months.
Uh, so it was Council of Science and Technology in
Yes.
UP. So basically, it is.
Uh,
So basically, it was a practice full program of BITS Pilani, whereby our college sends
okay,
for
okay. Oh, it was part of the BITS Pilani program. Right, right.
Right, sir.
And what do you think of the various financial derivatives? Which you would, I'm an investor. Which
So,
derivative you would recommend to me and why?
so before recommendation, it is more pertinent to ask what is your risk appetite. Based upon the investor's risk appetite, it would be more easier to suggest some securities.
I'm a small investor.
Uh, Sir, I think the best way forward is SIPs or mutual funds when it comes to small investors, because most of the blue penny stocks or blue chip stocks, sir, they have a higher face value, and small investors do not have the enough capital to invest. So in that cases, mutual funds could come as a boon and help you to leverage whatever savings you have with other people and invest in them.
Yeah, good. I am already into mutual funds. I'm also
Sir,
into SIP. Okay, good. I think you are able to read my investment
so,
portfolio. Um, with your father, I'm sure you must have moved into various areas of his assignments. And have you visited any land border with neighboring countries?
yes, sir, I have. So recently, I went to Pakistan India border at Sri Ganganagar,
The
where
Sri
BSF
Ganganagar.
commands.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
So there, I visited the last station whereby the last train from Lahore came into India. It is also mentioned in Kushwant Singh's book, the last train to nowhere. I don't remember the name, but that was the area. So that was the last land border that I visited.
What is the border like there? Tell me. I
Uh,
have not been to your border. How will you explain the border to me? Is it fenced? Is it barricaded? Or is it a fort with a moat around? How does it look, the border?
So the border basically is a so there are two parts to any border, that is from the Indian side and the Pakistan side. So the Indian sides are due to large amount of resources that we have fenced the border entirely. Then there is a 150-yard no man's line whereby nobody can go. Then there are the international markings, which is only present in the international borders and not in the LOC part. Then another 150 yards, and then the Pakistan side starts. At both sides of the position, sir, the sentry outposts are built so as to mirror them. So if there is some construction on India side, symmetrically in the opposite side, the Pakistan would also do some kind of construction so that there is a symmetry in the forces that are present in both the areas. So this is how the lines are demarcated. And between each borders, there are milestones or there are pillar stones demarcated. Like for Indian side, the numbers start from 1 in Akhnur in Punjab all the way to Gujarat, where and the Sri Ganganagar comes at 272nd position. So this is how the
In those pillars, you find BP written. Have you noticed?
no, sir, I haven't noticed.
They are the boundary pillars.
Right, sir.
Who demarcated the border during the partition?
Uh, so the Radcliffe Commission was initiated by the British government, and that gave the demarcated maps for India and Pakistan
Are there
and
any
India.
disputed areas in the Ganganagar sector?
No, sir, there are no disputed areas. The disputed areas begin in Gujarat. The Sir Creek dispute is there, and then it begins in LOC Park in Jammu.
So you have the border security force this side. What is the force on the other side, Pakistani side? What are their names? Do you have any idea?
So it is called as the Pakistan Rangers.
Rangers,
in the
yeah.
Pakistan.
And you appeared in the interview 2022 or 23?
So 2022.
2022. What was the toughest question which they asked you?
Uh, Sir, I think the question was regarding avocados and how they are prepared, cultivated, and transported. So that was something that I didn't have an idea about
Oh,
at that
so
point of time.
how did they choose that product?
Sir, I think the fusion cuisine was there, so they tried to merge the Indian cooking with avocado in some way or
Oh,
the other.
oh, okay, okay. Oh, they related that to cooking. Well, very rarely it is used in India as in
So
cooking. Except in star hotels, I don't think elsewhere people use avocado.
yes, sir.
Okay, that was one difficult question. Any other question?
Uh, so another question was quite factual in nature. Once they asked me, name 5 different rivers that flow in UP and 5 different cities that are situated on it.
Okay,
So
very
I could
able
only
answer.
name three.
Oh,
So I
okay.
could only name three
Okay,
at
that's
that
fine.
time.
That's one cannot be 100% factually complete in giving answers.
So
Our aim is not to test your knowledge, as I said. It is to test your personality, whether you understand the question. You see, very often people jump to the answers without even listening to the last word of the question. You must try and find out whether it is an interrogative question or an affirmative question. Very often there
so
could be affirmative questions,
okay.
wherein your answer should be a nod, not a sentence, you know. But then very often people jump thinking that this is the question. No, you must try and understand the question, important. Then give the answer. And how many
So
marks you scored last time in the interview?
so 160.
160.
So
You have to aim at 200 plus. I am confident you have the capability. I'll tell you some tips at the end. Once we finish with your interview, I should be able to, because you have the confidence of answering question number one. Number two, you have the experience, which many of the other candidates may not have. You already appeared before the board. Who was the chairman of the board at that time?
so TC Anand, sir.
Oh, okay, okay, fine. You see, it again depends upon some members who ask question, they have a style, and some members who try to be only theoretical. And like this avocado is a googly,
Sir.
which they have fielded to you. Had you answered, probably your number would have gone up, because you were interested in cuisine. They try to find out. Maybe this person who asked is fond of avocado.
Sir, most
Quite
perhaps.
likely, quite likely. Anyhow, these googlies do get played in the interview board. It is not to test your knowledge, as I said. It is how you present it. Whether you have heard about avocado, and though it has got a hard, you see, the beauty of avocado is, though it has got a hard shell, the inside is pulp,
Yes, sir.
so soft. See the exterior and the interior, like mango. Mango is not that hard, the shell, but this shell is very hard, avocado shell. But inside is so gooey, it is almost like liquid. Butter.
Yes, sir.
It is like butter, in fact. I mean, that is the beauty of that particular fruit. And now, yeah, politically related question.
Sir.
UP earlier and UP today minus Uttarakhand. Do you think it was the right move to bifurcate UP into UP and Uttarakhand?
So I do feel it was a move in the right direction. Seeing the growth of both UP and Uttarakhand, nobody would question that economically it was a brilliant move. The decentralized development and democratization of development has taken place in both the areas. And so, in all fairness and facts, I think it was a good move.
Okay, good. Good question. Good answer. Good answer. Now, again, we go back to your father's line of duty, BSF. Then you also have the ITBF. You also have the CRPF. And you have the SSB. What are they? Why these various forces? What is their specialization or the line of demarcation as far as functionality is concerned?
Uh, Sir, after the Kaga Review Committee, it was decided that per one border, one force mantra was given, whereby all the borders that India particularly has with different countries will have a unique force having unique capabilities to cater to that. So BSF was for Pakistan and Bangladesh, ITBP is for China, SSB is for Nepal and Bhutan, Assam Rifles is for Myanmar. And so the Central Reserve Police Force is a contingency force created by Ministry of Home Affairs to aid the civilian police in matters of maintaining internal security, be it in the Naxalite areas or in Northeast insurgency or any other contingency situation that may arise in the future.
And what is Coast Guard? What is their role?
So the Coast Guard is also a paramilitary force, which is responsible for manning the exclusive economic zone or the territorial waters of India. So the Navy is responsible for the exclusive economic zone and beyond, whereas the territorial waters are guarded by the Coast Guard.
In your order of preference for services, where does IPS stand?
Sir, it is in the third position, sir.
So you put IAS, IFS, and then IPS.
Yes, sir.
Which many people do. I also did. Okay, fine.
Sir.
Well, Kunal, that is all as far as the interview is concerned. Now I will give you the feedback. And first feedback is I am quite impressed the way you are able to present the answer. In the UPSC interview, it is not a questionnaire session. There is no question answer session. It is an intellectual conversation.
Sir.
Just to find out what type of person you are, your level of understanding, your way of analyzing things, and how do you gel well with the governmental team when you work in governance. This is what they try to find out. Of course, time taken to do the personality test is 30 to 40 minutes, very limited. But UPSC is still able to do it better. There are better methods, but it takes a lot of time. So they don't employ those methods. But the current method is quite effective, I would say. So this is the best method through which they try to test you. So you are running against time. It is 30 minutes and an average 20 to 25 questions. Most of the questions will be very simple. It could be your name. What is the history of Rastogi? They can ask.
Right, sir.
What is the meaning of that? Then Lucknow, how the name came. And how it became a Nawabi connect.
Sir.
Instead of a Hindu kingdom. Possible. And this is how they frame the question, just to find out. I mean, you don't have to make guesses. If you know the answer, fine. If you don't know, you say, I do not know. But you can make a guess in case there are some questions on figures. what is the allocation for child development in the 5-year plan? You can say that, sir. I don't remember the exact figure, but it is roughly around. You can make a guess, because even the person who has asked the question may not remember that.
Right, sir.
But don't try to make guess in all the cases, which is dangerous. Dangerous it is. As far as possible, avoid the guesses. Where you know the answer, tell it confidently. But that is where I'm going to give you the tips. The way you are answering has to be different from the other person.
Sir.
Most persons will give the questionnaire answers. What is so special about BSF? The answer will be, it is a border security force. They are deployed on the eastern and western borders. But your answer should be, it is a paramilitary organization coming under the Ministry of Home Affairs, securing the borders with Rajasthan, Punjab, and Bangladesh borders. And it is a force which has as good as army as far as the equipment and training are concerned.
Yes, sir.
They have a camel regiment, they have a aviation division. Now they have a drone division. Is fully equipped.
Sir.
It may not be in armed forces, but they are as good as armed. You should say that, which is very important, because they are deployed on the hot borders. They face the enemy. The army doesn't face the enemy in all the places.
Sir.
Wherever we have disputed areas, the army is not deployed there. They are not supposed to, as per the truce, as per the agreement, as the ceasefire agreements are concerned. But BSF faces the brunt. You see, your answer has to be different. I don't want you to give any of one of those run-of-the-mill answers. That is what the board expects. In what way Kunal is different from others? Because the board is not sitting there to reject you. It is sitting there to select you. And you have to give an opportunity. And that window of 30, 40 minutes is sufficient to give the answer. Like when they look at your father's profession, bound to be questions on BSF, on police, borders, national security. What is our national security doctrine? Do you think it covers everything? In what way our national security doctrine is different from Pakistan? Have you gone through the national security doctrine of Pakistan?
No, sir.
I want you to go through that. It's available in the net. Something very interesting. The national security doctrine also talks about making Pakistan an Islamic Republic, which is a security doctrine.
Okay, sir.
Normally, security doctrine should talk about securing the borders, but there they want to strengthen the country with Islamization. See, that shows the focus.
Sir.
Interesting. Go through that. I also go through our. We don't have a declared national security policy, but there are various elements of the national security policy and the document you can go through. I'm sure there are bound to be questions on that because of the moment they look at your DAF, and most of the questions, 40% of the questions are relating to your DAF, emanating from your DAF. They will ask.
Sure.
Your education, your job experience, or what you did in college, and what are your accomplishments, all these things. And that special analysis you did on Asian geopolitics, something very interesting. If there is a member from the diplomatic corps, foreign service, bound to ask that question.
Sure.
You look at the world map. In fact, today I was going. One of my interest is looking at the atlas again and again and again. I was looking at Asia when I read your DAF. 90% of the flashpoints in the world are located in Asia. 90%.
Yes, sir.
10% elsewhere, and they're very small. You can't call Cuba as a flashpoint today. It used to be once upon a time, Kennedy's time, Khrushchev's time, but not now. And the drug mafia in South America and all, you can't really call them a flashpoint, but they are the major problem, border crossing. But look at the Asian flashpoint, real war. We are fighting war between nations. The amount of migration problems which it overthrows. So this is a very, very interesting this thing.
Topic, sir.
Do some more study, the latest flashpoints, and what are the ways of containing them, and where are we heading? Where are we heading? Like everybody said that Ukraine war, Ukraine doesn't have the resources to fight the war, but then more than a year. Same way Hamas and Palestine and Israel, they can't fight a war for more than 1 week because Israel is so mighty, Palestine is so weak, Hamas is so weak. No, see how it goes on. What is driving them? The whole world is sitting under a volcano now, which is called the war. So all
Sure.
these are very, very important, and everything comes from out of the DAF. And your answers, as I said, have to be different. That is the main tips I'm going to give it to you. It has to be different. Because, you see, some of the questions are repetitive. The question bank is also limited. I don't think the UPSC board has more than 1,000 questions. And 10,000 people appear for the interview. So 10 people on an average will get the same question.
Yes, sir.
The answer has to be different.
Right,
answer
sir.
your answer should not be like those of 9. The 10th, your answer should be the 10th one different. Now, how do
Yes,
you
sir.
do it? Again, I will tell you. How do you do it? From DAF, prepare likely questions. You see, when I say DAF, I'm putting a lot of emphasis on DAF because my experience is 40% of the questions in the interview board are DAF related.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
come to the 60% later. I'm talking about the 40% questions. Write down the possible questions and your answer. Refine your answer. Can I tell it in a different way? Can I make it a bit concise? Can I use more keywords? Very important. Keywords are very, very important.
Sure.
Try to do that exercise. When is your interview, Kunal?
It's on 2nd of January, sir.
Oh, it's almost knocking. Okay,
Yes,
still you
sir.
have time. Still you have time because what I'm asking you to exercise your mental horizon.
Right, sir.
Don't read anything new because it will not sink in.
Right,
If you
sir.
want to read only the headline of anything new. Don't read the editorial now. This is not the time to read editorial. That is
Yes,
only
sir.
for mains and films and all those things. Now, whatever you know, how do I refine it? For example, I'll ask you a question and I'll expect the answer and we will refine that answer.
Sir.
What do you think of the institution of governors in the states? Do we still maintain the governors What do you say? That is the question.
So, Institute of Governance in which state, sir?
In the country, in our country, the institution of governance, the role of governance, what do you think? I have asked you a very pedestrian question. They keep asking this question. Very simple question. Of course, it has simple answers, but I don't want you to give me the simple answer.
Sir, sir, even after 75 years of independence and the trajectory in which most of the global institutions are heralding towards India as a beacon of hope, I feel that the Institute of Governance has surely done its task, what the Constitution envisaged. Obviously, there are some things that could be improved, but when looking from a macro view, I think it has done its job and will continue to do so.
What did you say? It has done its job and?
It will continue to do so.
Okay. Now, you are given a factual position, but I will put it in a different way. Sir, it is a constitutional position. And the governor is the representative of the central government, an instrument of cooperative federalism. He is, with his abundant experience in politics and governance, can be the greatest advisor to the state government. Well, there are controversies on the role of governors, but all these things can be tackled politically. See, look at the answer in which I packed all the information. Which one you would choose, your answer or my answer?
So your answer.
Why?
So keywords.
See, I've used keywords. You must bring in cooperative federalism. He is a representative of the central government. And main thing is, he has a legal authority. It's a constitutional position. Sir. See, this is what I want you to do in the next 1 week. You know okay, I'll put it like this. The questions which they are going to ask, none of them are out of syllabus. We know what questions they ask.
Yes, sir.
Current affairs, to do with politics, to do with economic development, to do with COVID management, to do with center-state relations, to do with supremacy of the judiciary, electoral processes, electoral reforms. Not more than 50 subjects, Kunal. And what are the controversial issues in this? That also you know. List it. Suppose a question is asked on this, what should be my answer? I want you to do that in writing. Yes. Then you will get more clarity the moment you write and refine it. Your first draft, second draft, third draft. Probably your first draft will have 10 sentences, and in your second and third draft, you will reduce it to 2 or 3 lines with more keywords. Sure. That type of presentation will make you unique, different. Oh, he's the best material. How about others? They are all good material, but I have come across the best material. This is how the board discusses. Look at the way look at the clarity. Now, for example, we talked about UP, Uttarakhand and all. What is this Joshimat problem which we faced last year, this year? Why it happened? So Joshimat is basically situated on a fault line where the underlying rock is not compacted, rather it is made up of loose rubbles. So recently, sir, there was a dam project that was being constructed, and due to the leakages on the wall, there were seepages in this rubbles. This liquefied the underlying soil, and that's why Joshimat started to sink down, and cracks started to appear. So this was the major problem. You have given me all the geographical reasons, on the location, on the status, fine. But isn't it also due to overdevelopment?
Yes, sir.
You must bring that point. You see, development is always positive, but overdevelopment is negative. What we do is overdevelopment. Areas
Right.
wherein we should put a ceiling, we don't. What is the point of constructing multi-stories in hill stations? What happened in Simla this year? The way buildings collapse.
Sir,
What is happening in Missouri? Landslides. I mean, large number of hill stations in Uttarakhand are having this problem because of the pressure. Pressure is due to overdevelopment. And don't feel that in your answers you should not criticize government. You are not criticizing government. You are giving the observations. Feel free to tell your observation. They may ask a question, which they've been asking. In most of the years, they have asked this question. Have you ever visited a government office for a citizen service in your case? Have you?
yes, sir. Sir,
What
for
was
Aadhaar verification. So
okay?
Aadhaar verification.
Aadhaar verification. What was the reception like when you entered the government office? And what will your rate card give them?
Sir, the service was slow. The instructions were not clear as to where we have to go. And so the staff was unresponsive in certain situations.
See?
So the rate card would not be quite high.
This is after 75 years of independence, after so much of streamlining of administrative processes, and after so much of digitization.
Sir.
You must give such an answer. Very important. There's a lot of room for improvement, sir. What will you do as a civil servant when you are faced with these problems of inefficiency and corruption? Another question.
So the first order of business would be to analyze the source of the problem. Like if for the Aadhaar case that we just saw, what are the major reasons why the delays are happening, why the instructions are not clear. Secondly, sir, first order of business would be to make it citizen-centered. So the instructions would be placed on a board just outside the office so that all the people that are coming know clearly what they are supposed to do. When they enter the office, sir, the staff would be made more citizen friendly by regular updation or circulating or passing a memo that these are the ways through which we have to address whoever is coming in. And so thirdly, sir, regarding the delay due to server errors, I think backend digitally has to be improved. And so more money should be utilized to make the process more smooth in terms of server management.
Good. I think you should be, Kunal, you should be bold enough to tell the board if there is any such question that, sir, unfortunately, our government officers are not people friendly. When they enter a government office, it is like one of those bulbulayas.
Yes, sir.
It's a maze. Nobody knows where to go, how to do things. Nothing is written, no notice board, nothing. They have to go from table to table, and every fellow will shoo them away. Not my job, not my job, not my job. We are not people friendly. As an administrator, my first job in my office is to make my office people friendly. Make it transparent. Make the instructions readable. What is the point of keeping all the instructions in the file of the Babu? It is meant for the citizen. He doesn't read the file. He will look at the board. Number one. Number two, performance indicators are never indicated. Whether this office, if they have received 20 citizen services requests in a day, how many were completed? Nowhere there is data. Because they don't want to expose their inefficiency. I'll make it transparent. I will introduce a rate card system. You see, if you talk like that, then you are getting involved with governance. You are showing your interest. But many candidates do not say this. But I want Kunal to say this.
Right, sir.
If there is any question on governance, if there is any question on visit to a government office, or what are your suggestions for improvement, things like that. Okay. Another question which many people avoid answering, but of late the board has been answering these, has been addressing these questions are, at the end of the interview, 30, 35, 40 minutes or over, they say, we have asked you so many questions. You want to ask us any question?
Yes, sir.
Did you face this when you went for the interview?
No, sir, I didn't face this.
People have. What will be your response to this?
Sir, if an opportunity is given to me to ask a question to the board member, I think I would pass, because if they want to discuss something, of course, I could discuss about certain issue. But what type of question could I ask the board at that point of time?
You have to be politically correct. Very often people say, thank you, sir. I don't have, because they are very afraid of asking question to the questioner. The interview
Right,
board is
sir.
the questioner, which is not correct. I would call it a golden opportunity.
Sir.
I would really call it a golden opportunity. Grab that time. It may be 2 minutes, it may be 5 minutes. You just say, sir, in these 75 years, we have made fantastic progress. We have brought the common man from his annual income level of such and such to such and such. Literacy rate is so high. Economic indicators are so good. But still, in the international arena, except on the economic indicator, politically, culturally, sports-wise, we are not a strong nation. What do we do with all your combined wisdom? What do we do to pull up our country to that level, sir? That is my... You see, make it impressive. You can make an impact. In fact, they want you almost to select you. That's to such people only they ask this question. Let's have the final word from him. Let us see. Don't say, I have nothing to say, sir. I have nothing to ask, sir. Thank you, sir. No. Golden opportunity, never miss.
No, sir.
Okay, you need not talk about the country. You can talk about sports. Sir, we have so much resources, but in the international arena, we are not able to do. Well, what is so lacking, sir, with your combined wisdom? Can we have a blueprint? You ask, because they asked you to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
You're not giving them an answer. You're asking them a question. Sir, can we have a blueprint from you with your combined wisdom? Then
Right,
they will
sir.
say, look at this fellow. He has thrown the ball back to our court.
Right,
You
sir.
can. Because these questions are being asked these days.
Yes, sir.
And my experience, my feedback is most of the people say, thank you, sir. So they've lost an opportunity. I don't want you to lose that opportunity. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Kunal, that is all on the feedback. If you have any questions to ask, you can ask me.
So regarding articulation, should I be more brief or the amount of words that I'm speaking is all right?
See, as I said, you have to be brief. Don't be too elaborate, but keywords. When
Sir,
I say brief, it is keywords.
right, sir.
As much keywords as possible, because they convey a lot of meaning.
Right, sir.
And don't have to start with introduction, body, conclusion, observation. No. Because it is an intellectual conversation. The aim of asking a question is to find out your own observations, your own findings, not to have the textual knowledge, which they know. They're not interested to find out the textual knowledge from you. Your own critical analysis,
Right, sir.
Asian geopolitical situation, your own critical analysis they want. Why these flashpoints? Borders are not demarcated well. Economic levels are unequal. See, these are some of the commonalities. Why Asia is a hot pot. So that means you have done your own analysis.
Right, sir.
See, tomorrow you are thrown into the field to find a solution to a problem. You should be able to analyze yourself. You do that unless you have an analytical mind. This is what they try to find out. Then are you judgmental? They try to find out. Yes, you should be judgmental. It may be negative, but you are judgmental. You need not always support the government, but you can tell it in a politically correct way, in a polite way. So this is one side of criticism. You see, instead of saying what government is doing wrong, I will never make you say that. You can say this is a way of criticism. I think
Right, sir.
this can be avoided for the betterment of the people. Yeah, electoral bonds. Yes, there is a criticism, though it is a reform, but then there is a criticism.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right. Anything?
So, no, sir, that is it
Okay,
from my
you
side.
have very little time, but still I want you to make it a quality preparation in the next 7 days. In between, you have any doubt, you can always reach me by WhatsApp.
Sir,
Prabhakar will give my number to you whenever you require. Like some questions in which you are not able to reach the correct answer or you want to refine it, you can throw it back to me with your answer. So this is the answer. I want you to refine it. Can you? Things like that. Do that. I'm available. Tell your
sure, sir.
interview. In fact, we do this mentoring. And you are a good material. I find in you. You are already appeared before the board. You have the experience. You have the confidence. And you are able to do a good presentation. I want it more refined, which you are capable. I have told you the tips.
Right, sir.
You will do it well. Okay. And in between,
Sure.
anytime, you can always reach me also. Okay.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Okay, Kunal. All the best.
Thank you, sir.